All right, topic, sticks and stones breaking bones. Before we start, I would like to say thank you, and thank you to SecT for hosting us during COVID, and that you guys are here and kicking COVID in the ass. Thank you for staying safe. Thank you for taking care of friends and family around the world, wherever you are. And in January 8th, 1986, the mentor wrote in Frack magazine something that is should be more true now than ever, and that is, we exist without skin color, without nationality, without religious bias, and that was the Hacker Manifesto. And today I think it should be more true than anything. The topic today is going to be very close to home. For the last couple of years, we've been battling this virus that's been going on, and we lost some good people, sadly. The equipment mentioned here today is the equipment used to actually monitor the damage caused by COVID. But in difference to my other talks, where I usually just crash and burn on every security thing there is, I'm going to be a little nicer and see what we can do about it. So enjoy the presentation, guys. For those who don't already know me, my name is Lundgren. I turned 40 this year. Who knew? I didn't think I received 40, but yet here I am. I'm the father of 3. I got a dog, a COVID dog, of course, because we were bored. My COVID interests have been making custom keyboards lately, and as well as writing a book. Tried on some graffiti, not outside, but with pencils. I'm not ready to show that work yet. Professionally, I've been a speaker at DEF CON, RSA, SecT, Black Hat, and hold a pen testing position at NCC Group, IOActive, and a couple of few. Some of the notable clients I work with is Amazon, Microsoft, SAP, Apple. And my main job is pen testing. I do everything from web apps to whatever I can get my hands on. Some of you have also known me for my previous work on the MQTT, IoT security, and the iSCSI stuff, which is out there. And I'm always scanning the internet, so I'm scanning for obscure protocols, hint like the one we're going to talk about today, and other things. I've also started to do some hardware hacking, and maybe something come up for SecT 2022 if it's relevant enough. I have to mention my current workplace, so blatant ad for my workplace. Awesome people there that I work with. They can stand me, which is perfect, I guess. These are my friends, my colleagues. Thank you guys for being there. We're going to talk about DCOM and PAX, and some people know or don't know what this is about. You can see the X-ray image, and that's a big hint. We will go through a little bit more in detail what this entitles. We'll go through the history, how it came to be, what it's used for, and how it looks today, as well as, sadly, the problems that we see, especially in security. There are some 80s acronyms that you need to be aware of. And when it comes to 80s and acronyms, they're a bit hasty for me to remember. So PAX is Picture Archiving and Communication System. DCOM is Digital Imaging and Communications in Medicine. We will get into more detail what those are in a bit, but you need to remember those because those are important. So, first version of the DCOM standard, 1984. This was developed in the early 1980s by American College of Radiology, also shortened as ACR, and National Electronic Manufacturers Association, NEMA. They were doing this because you need images, you need a way to store images, you need to have images and x-rays. And back in the days, the standard was actually depending on the brand. You might have seen in the movies where they hold up this X-ray image and they put it on this white, bright background. I think that is, I don't know if they still do it like this today, but that's what we're talking about. In 1992 and 1993, we saw a large-scale deployment. The US military started using PACS, as they named it, because it was born at the same time. And PACS is where you store all the images. Version 3 was also released. Note here that the name DCOM wasn't until 1993 where they introduced ACR and NEMA introduced the name DCOM into the mix. It also got some great functionality such as Ethernet and TCP/IP. In 1995, it doesn't feel that long ago, but a lot of things were integrated into the DCOM and PACS. We have the ultrasound, we have the X-rays and radiation stuff that were added in imagery for the DCOM and PACS storage. They also decided to introduce the ACC, committee includes American College of Cardiology. Try to say that fast 3 times. In 2000, they did a little bit of security. A lot of more devices were added, and a lot of more of X-ray methods were added. But they added secure communications. That meant TLS. The road so far for 2019. Now they have awesome real-time streaming. They have DCOM Web, which I haven't looked at, by the way. So if you feel like you have a COVID time, then take a look at that. And this was a huge leap in tech. Imagine from 1998 or 1988 until now. It's been huge. How does this all work then? We have a lot of protocols in medical field, and you might have heard of HL7, which is Healthwise 7, which has been on the carpet before. We'll come to that as well. What happens is an order comes in from the HL7 that actually goes to the exam and the imagery being taken. Once that is done, it ends up on the PACS for storage and archiving. We then have the viewer, which could be anything from an iPad to an Android phone these days to a laptop or a console at the hospital, where the doctor can go through the images and share it with his colleagues and get professional opinions. Yeah, DCOM and viewing. Today, experts across the globe can actually share an image to a doctor that is sitting on a beach in Aruba with his mobile phone on vacation to get his professional opinion. Or if you break a leg or have a very nasty break, they can send it down to an expert in Australia. And he will take a look because he's used to these types of, bone-breaking experiences. What we also have is in DCOM, which is a protocol as well as a file format, is something called IODs. We'll get into IODs, but today DCOM is still evolving, it's still moving, it's still something, as you can see with the web. And this is something, especially today, that we can't live without. As stated before, DCOM is more than just an abbreviation or a word. It is a file format and a protocol. And that contains, it works as a container. Imagine like a Matroska protocol, the MKV, where you actually have text in one and you have the images and the 3D stuff at one, and then you package to an MKV file. It's somewhat the same. You have the DCOM format where you have a lot of data and you have the imagery and maybe some other stuff, some 3D. So it's a package that you get. And this package gets stored on the PACS server. Stuff that is in the IODs, which stands for Information Object Definitions. another 80s acronym. I'm not bashing it. I mean, if you can remember it, it's very good. I can't. I would call them objects, so you know what I'm talking about. But in these objects, you have, for instance, patient names and the social security number in some cases, and other stuff, so at which hospital, which device, which doctor did the call, and which doctor took the X-ray. And so all those things are stored inside the DCOM. So you both have the image and you have all these things that are stored. I should have done that at the same time, shouldn't I? So how does this look then? It has a unique identifier like 0010, 0030, and that is a DCOM standard for patient's birth date. And as you can see highlighted in red up there and the value downstairs, that is the patient's birth date. And those are the IODs that I'm referring and talking to. And body parts exam and even outcome. We've seen stuff where the doctors actually put in that the patient sadly has passed on. And here's the old me again. Where's the beep up? Where did things go wrong? So far, so good. And I wouldn't be standing here unless there's something wrong. I haven't talked much about security with the DCOM and PACS. Because what you saw in 2000, that's what I was able to find, the TLS. And there might be medical experts here that says, no, we get username and passwords. Yes and no. But there's nothing that really says security. So what if someone obtained a DCOM file? For instance, what would they find? As we stated before, we have the objects, we have the birth date, the doctor, the information. And sadly, I haven't gotten any response from the patients I've contacted. I reached out to a former FBI agent. I don't know if that was a smart move. Whose X-rays I found online in order to get their opinion on what they think of the whole situation and what their reaction would be and how they can see it fixed and mainly their reaction to it, because we need to get this thing off the net. I also reached out to a famous actor in the Orange is the New Black. He has been in the movies Taken as well. I'm not getting any response from these people. I mean, it's... I started this research back in 2017, and prior I reached out to a Greek woman who didn't want to be featured, but said that this is shit, this sucks, and this is bad, and she's going to talk to her hospital. The server is still up, so I don't know how successful she was. GDPR. Let's do our paperwork. I'm not a big fan of GDPR, but maybe it's not your favorite topic Saturday afternoon around 1400 hours, I know. But I'm going to ask you, see if someone can answer. Who is responsible for your X-rays? Feel free to put your hand up, and nobody knows. Is it the hospital? Yes. Is it the specialist, if you get transferred to a specialist? Yes, maybe, perhaps, who knows? So what does GDPR say about X-rays? I'm going to do a little brain fart here for you. If an X-ray is done at the hospital, it's the hospital's responsibility, unless the hospital transfers it to the specialist, unless you're going back to the hospital again, because then it's the hospital's and not the specialist's responsibility. To break it down a little bit simpler, if you're at the hospital and doing an X-ray at the hospital, it's the hospital's responsibility for your X-rays. If you get temporarily transferred to a specialist, it is still the hospital's responsibility. If your end station is the specialist, so when you're done with the specialist, you say, thank you, I have no more pain, I'm ready to go. then it's the specialist that actually handles the X-rays and is responsible. And that is a big problem, as you will see, because nobody really knows. Looking at the EU and the General Data Protection Regulation, link down below if you want to check the sources. This is what it's supposed to be. Access currently regulated by local rules, hospital administration, or national authority. Gdpr covers biometric data, genetic and images, nerves, and unique information. Gdpr actually covers your nerves as well, because like everybody, your nerves are unique. You can be identified, so that falls under GDPR. Also, you have the right to be forgotten. You have the right to call up the hospital and say, remove my x-rays. I don't want to see them anymore. I look horrible under an x-ray camera. But, yeah, who has done that? Your rights, according to DCOM and GDPR, you should have explicit consent to handling your data. That means that if they want to store an X-ray of you, they need to have your permission. If, crazy, if they are providing access to this X-ray from a specialist, especially once a viewer, still need your permission. And of course, there are additional laws depending on which country you work in or live in or getting your care in that handles that and should be a part of the whole health for that nation. So, raise your hand if you have ever been asked consent to store your X-ray. Okay. Raise your hand if someone has asked permission to transfer your X-ray. One. You rock, sir. That is, I've never seen that. I expected more hands, though, so I'm a little bit surprised. Raise your hand if you got a question if they can store your X-ray for a longer period of time. Okay, cool. I'm just curious. This article I linked to, which contains the GDPR in DCOM and PACS, is from 2017. So this is something that should happen. I know from my fact, personally, when they did an X-ray of my head, there's nothing wrong, don't worry. Nothing physical, at least. They didn't ask anything. They took the X-ray, the doctor checked it, and he said, thumbs up, you're good to go. That's it. Never got to sign anything. I never got the possibility to store it or retrieve it, because wouldn't it be cool if we got our own X-rays as well? It's like, hey, Mom, this is me. Like a photo album, that would be cool. Because I would like to see my X-ray. I haven't, until I started this, I haven't seen a single X-ray more than movies, and I would like to have my own. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, yeah? Security. The main reason I omitted security from the initial slide is that, in my opinion, there is none. And this has been covered before. I know, copycat, la la la. No, this was actually done at DEF CON. I think it was someone covered it in 2017 for the Health Light 7, an internal protocol for writing subscriptions for medicine. There's also been some internal scans for DCOM at the hospitals. And I think the talk is from 2011 where it says, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on your network by Tim Elrod and Stefan Mori. So you can definitely check that out. It's mostly internal stuff. What you guys all came here for, right? PACS. Remember what it stands for? Picture Archiving something. Let's call it a storage server, okay? It resides on TCP port 104, 2761, 2762, and 11.11.2. And that's how I remember it, at least. And yes, it's open. Accessing a PAX storage server is as simple as these steps. An IP address, of course, you need that. The service needs to be open and running. You need a viewer software, and there's plenty of them. Most are open source. I have one on my iPad, for instance. You can use that, your iPhone. Mobility is really the key here. You need a AE title, which is your unique identifier, at least according to specifications. You can write my iPhone, my tablet, Mr. Gray, if you would like. That is totally fine. And you should use the command cget. You can actually choose that in the DCOM viewer, and not cmove. Cget makes a copy and gives you the copy. Cmove, yes, it takes it and moves it from the server. That is very bad, because then it's non-existent in their PAX server, because you moved it. Other cool names you can write in AA title: Dr. Phil, Dr. House, Shredder. Just looking at the notes, really cool. So not all PAX or DCOM viewers are created equally. In my research, I stumble upon some that work, some that don't, some that work from certain occasions, some that don't work. So you need to have a whole slew of applications. I have stuff running in Windows, Linux, OS X, iPad, iPhone, and if you're unable to retrieve something from the iPad, then you should try the iPhone with another application. That works. And maybe try the Windows version, because it's a little bit wonky. I failed to understand why. But the Linux version is the best, because you have no UI. You can just issue commands and just download whatever you like, if you should. I will not cover the specific imagery data that is in there according to DCOM, but you can add stuff like distance between X and Y and Z and depth and 3D. It's way too advanced. And then you can save that into the DCOM as a measurement, and it gets stored in the DCOM file so that other doctors can see, it's 3 centimeters. Some DCOM patients. This is actually from the iPad, and you gotta love my censoring. I just scribble over. On the list here we have the famous FBI agent, Susan, and one that I blurred completely because he's a famous actor, and he's on IMDb, and has been in a couple of movies as well. Sadly, still no response, and if there is a response, I will post it on Twitter for you guys, so you can steal my Twitter handle later. X-rays look a little bit like this. I've censored a lot due to respect to the patients, since this is a little bit close to home. This is uniquely identified to this person. So if this was used in a GDPR case, that person's specific nerves that you see identifies, I'll say her, identifies her. Even if you have to go through 5 billion other X-rays in order to find a match and find her, sure, but it's unique to her. Viewing on an iPad. I cropped it a little bit just to hide the name. Again, we have the ability to view. We have the ability to use tools to measure distance. We have the ability, if the DCOM viewer is advanced enough, to go in 3D, if it was a 3D scan, and see the brain and go deep into the eyes and see all the layers. And it kind of works, I imagine it like a GIF, don't slaughter me, where you have several layers that you actually can animate, and you can go through each layer and see. So it's really good covering like tumors and stuff that is problematic. And for some of you that saw the last picture, who might be a doctor, might have seen something strange. And yes, there probably was something strange. with that person on her x-ray. And I hope that that's not the reason why she's not communicating anymore. Let's talk about exposure. Because by now you all figure out that this is not just internal stuff, this is on the internet. What I've seen happening on the internet is a lot of things go up and down. That is, things get moved. So I'm thinking a portable storage server gets moved to another location, loses its IP, and then comes back online at some other point in time. But it's been, it's crazy out there. Current exposure, as of yesterday, after 2 beers and 1 cider, 2,839 PAX servers. And you're thinking, it's a low number. Yes, it is. But the amount of patients in these servers can be 1 million per server. So now we're talking in context that it's a lot of people on these servers. And not just people, they're x-rays of animals, if your dog breaks a leg and goes to the vet, it can end up in an online PAX server. Not as bad, but animals have rights too. But 2,839. Let's check out the top dogs in EU. Germany, first place, 163 PAX servers. And this is fresh off the press, like yesterday. Italy, third, with around 30. France takes the second place with 44. Netherlands is tied with Italy with 30, which was a bit surprising to me, seeing like the size of the country compared to the amount of PAX servers actually done. And I hope I didn't color anything wrong because I used the template. I'm sorry, I'm lazy. US in the world is the top dog, and they have 753 as of yesterday. India, 404, and Brazil, 178. India was a bit of a surprise because usually when it comes to IoT, they're not that forward in other protocols that I've seen, but in DCOM. And there might be a reason for that, and we'll come to that in a little bit. I just have to give a shout out to John Madley, the creator of Shodan. Shodan has disabled the ability to actually go through historical records to see how it looked before COVID hit. But selling my soul to John and promising Anders von Esset Security as a gift, he agreed to provide me with some data, which we can see. And below is the Shodan search term that you can use in order to find the exposed PAX and see for yourself. Historical data, number 1. I know there's a little hiccup there because I guess John was drunk during 2018 and didn't collect any data. Might have been the same time he got the Husky, I'm not sure. But something happened. But as you can see, what happened in 2019, guys? For those, you all know, COVID hit. We actually got our first good look at the COVID virus in 2019. And as you can see, there's a big increase in the exposed PAX servers during that time as well. Some more historical data, as you can see. I don't know if it's clear enough. I know the graphics is a little bit wonky, right? But you see where we're at now. We see April, we have a upswing in exposed PAX storage servers in April. It's hard to actually find some good graphs to use when it comes to COVID and when it comes to, the virus, because everybody's got their opinion and their spread and per country and how many are infected, how many dead, etc., etc. But I found one. Forgot to include a source here. Sorry, my bad. But it's Statistica something. Where you can get statistics. And this is actually the spread of COVID. Should be worldwide. And if you look at, what is it, April 2021 here? There's a little bit of upswing, and the same thing you can be seeing for the exposed PAX servers. So my guess is the mobility is key factor. Being able to bring this on locations and make sure and see if the patients are doing good, how their x-rays are. In some cases, if they survived or not. So more data, April 2017 to August 2021. A little more closer look. United States, India, and Brazil. Iran, China, Canada, Korea. And remember, one of these servers can host millions of patients. So what else can we use this for? What else is there? I mean, I see people's x-rays, but now what? I always save the best for last, don't I? So let's talk about other attack surfaces. What I didn't include, or didn't say, or omitted from the beginning, is that you can overwrite the x-rays. You can take any x-ray there is, add stuff to it, upload it, overriding the original. You can download and remove, you can delete, or you can download the x-rays, edit the Photoshop, and remove those black spots that the person have on their lungs. Re-upload and say, yeah, you're doing great. Not only that, I know, can it get any worse? Back in 2017, there was an Israeli research team, link included, that actually made a malware that uses AI and that can be unleashed internally to scan these decom images and trying to find x-rays of lungs. And once it finds x-rays of lungs, with the AI algorithm, it could add black spots or holes in places. That would mean that if that spread internally at a hospital, a lot of people would be going to chemo that year. We can make it worse, though. We can remove the spots, as I said. Imagine a presidential candidate going into election, and he has a disease or does not have a disease. We can alter that in any way. So he can pull out of a race saying that, no, I'm sorry, I'm very ill. I need to tend to my family right now, and the time I have left, but there's nothing wrong with him. Or just have him like, yeah, no treatment, just remove whatever we see on the x-ray. To put this into a money perspective, and be a little crazy, as they say, what about your favorite athlete? Let's see, American football, he gets an injury, slam, he's down. They pull him out. Tabloids, within the same minute that he got his x-ray, would say his career is over. Or some celebrity, a royalty, gets in a car accident and they have the x-rays. Imagine the worth of an x-ray of a royalty that you can sell to a tabloid saying, this is Prince XYZ's x-ray. He broke his neck, or he broke his, that was a little abrupt maybe, but broke his arm, broke his collarbone. Or add some spots and say he got cancer. Sorry, he's not going to make it. As it couldn't get worse. How about using these decom images as actual command and control points and servers? There's some research about a guy that actually made a portable executable, exe file, inside one of these IoT objects. And not only that, what if you can have instructions what's going to happen next in the command and control infected servers by having it communicate to a decom server and a specific patient and a specific ID, let's say patient number, and therein is the instructions on what to do next. Go and download XYZ, or download from even the same table. download from the patient's birth date the next malware that you're going to use to infect. So you can use these as spreaders, and this is actually going on as well, mostly internally. So patient's name or even the device name gets renamed to base64 encoding that contains malware that can be used to further spread inside the network. As before was a long rant, this is going to be a bit longer. When things aren't easy, it's a bit insecure. With easy, I mean the DCOM and the PACS are supposed to be plug-and-play devices. You're supposed to be going to a network, plug in your X-ray machine, it finds the PACS server, that's it, good to go. When it's that easy, it usually lacks security. This is a standard that was developed in the early 80s, and slapping security on top of something that has become de facto standard is a bit hard. You can't just start adding usernames and passwords. What about that 4-ton or 7-ton, 400,000 euro X-ray machine that is end of life and that you can't use because you upgraded PACS and it doesn't work like this anymore? That doesn't fit into the hospital's budget. So what needs to be done, and what we need to help each other with, is to actually get this protocol and this standard more secure by using the old protocol on top, make sure that it works, but at the same time helping DCOM and helping hospitals develop and host things secure internally. This presentation was a bit hard and a little bit close to home. We need to do something together, and I'm not here to kick the hospital scene. I'm not here to do what I usually do and say, ha, insecure, pwned. No, they saved our lives for 2 years now. It's time that we actually save theirs a little bit. So if you can do any work, I don't have the connections, but you probably will. If you can do any work and you can do it pro bono, and you can show the medical field that you're actually not that bad, help them set it up securely. Help them remove this from the internet. And this is really hard when it comes to the cloud, because a lot of people are moving stuff up on the cloud and you can't know which hospital this X-ray belongs to, who to contact. But if you know someone in the hospital field, talk to them, see what they can do. I kind of omitted, I hear a question. I hear, how about Sweden? We got 4 exposed, and people are looking down, but don't worry, they had no customer data for now. They might have, unless they work as a transfer hub for transferring from PACS to another PACS, because that is the whole purpose, being able to send things from A to B or A to Z, like a plug-and-play protocol. So again, guys, please help out your hospitals, help out your people. This is bad, I know, but they saved us. It's our time we save them. We're a little bit short on time, or more time, but that's a longer break for you guys. So feel free to ask questions, to reach out, to do whatever you like, to hook me up with some hospital people. That is also fine. I'm not trying to bash hospitality. I'm trying to help. So the more you can spread this and spread the love, the better. Thank you.
Dude, that's heavy. That's bleak. Okay, I don't even know where to begin. You said there's no authentication into any of this.
No.
You said that you talk to people and they say, "But we have passwords."
Yeah, that is mainly due to their hospital application requiring them to log in. So that's another layer that they have to jump in order to reach the PACS, but we don't.
They're talking about Windows login to their...
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. So, yeah.
And that leads to a question.
Wait. You're but you have to give a name, but the name can be anything.
Yeah.
And there's no access logs or anything.
Nope, I've seen no.
Okay. And everybody knows about this already because nobody talks about it.
Yeah, everybody knows, nobody talks about it. There's been some article out. I've been featured in some of these articles, just for a four-liner. I had this much to say, and it was comprised of four layers. But it's been covered in DEFCON, Black Hat, RSA, mostly internally. But how about external, as we can see? We can just pop in and get some x-rays. And that is a big problem.
And that leads to the first question from the audience. Is there any secure PACS or any plans for a secure PACS?
I mean, one of the slides I have, we actually had what they say you should do, and it actually includes hosting it internally and VPN. Sure. But who enforces that? Even if there's a standard, as we can see, even if there's rules and regulations, as we saw, they're not doing it. Why? I think simplicity. They want to be able to, it just works, pull up my phone and connect to the server and download the X-ray. I don't have to jump through this WireGuard VPN or this OpenVPN and certificate and usernames and password. I just click once and I have the X-ray. And I think that needs to change a little bit. We need to have some sort of authentication. Just connect to the hospital VPN. Then you can reach the PACS server and see your... So that's my 2 cents on it, at least.
You said retrieve them, update them, move them. Could you also add them?
I can probably add, yeah.
So but the Swedish ones, I mean, they're empty. You said there's nothing on them.
I haven't tried to write because that would be very bad if I were to do.
I mean, it's already bad, right? But yeah.
But yes, you can probably add. So you can add add patients' data.
So you could add somebody in there, probably.
Yeah.
Well, if it, they'll get transferred. It'll get transferred to another server that presumably is not online then.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it could be something like they just have it as a bounce host. So they put in patients and then it get automatically transferred to the specialist. So if you put in Björnes Magasin, eller Bamse Killing, whatever thing, maybe that will end up at some specialist trying to examine your favorite cartoon's leg.
Awesome. Audience questions?
One question is if looking at these at Shodan, do you think any of them are honeypots, or have you researched that they're actually legit and contain data?
Come again?
You were saying that there's a lot of Shodan on these ports, but have you verified that they're actually real servers and not just honeypots and stuff?
Some are honeypots, yes, they are. Those are actually marked as honeypots as well in Shodan to some extent. Okay. Some of them have been excluded. Some of them can be testing. Some of them can be cloud testing. But you can easily make a small script in Linux that connects to each and every one of these and just downloads the first patient in the table. And then it says, done. I didn't include that script, but it's easily like 5 lines of bash with the tools that we have at our exposure. And then you can probably get the real number unless it's a honeypot that actually has fake patients. And we see a lot of things moving to the web as well. So we see a lot of web-based DCOM viewers popping up, which probably is going to be a problem. Probably a problem. It's going to be a problem. Especially if they haven't thought about security and actually communicating with a real PACS server in the back end. It's a whole other level of hurt.
Yeah, it's bleak. Okay. Do you have any more questions from the audience? Yeah. I don't know. It is as bad as you can imagine, and then, then it's just really bad, I guess.
Yeah. So the message is, come together. Let's fix this. Honestly. Coming from me, coming from one that usually don't give a shit, I'm giving a shit. So I hope you guys do too.
Well, put it this way. Okay, so if the 4 Swedish ones are actually part of some datasluss, whatever method of transferring to a more secure or handling it in a more secure way, then I'm sure that the hospitals didn't think of that themselves. I'm sure that there's maybe someone in the room that built that up for them. That this is an effort already to do something.
Yeah.
Probably trying to figure that out, and if they're trying to help other countries as well.
Yeah.
It's a good way.
Yeah. I think it could be like local IT or something, just setting something up real quick, or not knowing what standards or protocols to follow when it comes to medical devices. And, but in the end, it's your X-rays, and as you say, you have the right to be forgotten. Talking about GDPR, by the way, and how much this would cost in numbers. I mean, if all your information is there and you're identifiable, nerves and everything, so like what are we saying, like $1 million per person in the system? I mean, if Gdpr would slap their hammer, they can take down a country. If we will look at Italy and say like, yeah, you have 13.7 million people in the PAX server, and all of them are saying GDPR, GDPR, you need to be punished.
Yeah, but what happened about the, was it 1.5 million phone calls recorded in the 1177? Yeah, what happened with them? I didn't hear about any money anyway.
Nope.
Just the cable. Lots of money? All right.
That's the money.
That maybe someone couldn't pay anyway. So. All right. Thank you very much, Lucas. I'm sure there'll be more questions privately after this.
Sure. Hit me up after I'm here. I'm going to go grab a beer. So thank you, guys. You rock.
Thank you.